A legacy of expansion, echoes of the past. The United States, throughout its history, has been no stranger to territorial expansion. From the early days of the 13 colonies hugging the Atlantic coast, the nation has continually sought to push its boundaries outward, driven by a vision of growth and prosperity. From the vast Louisiana Purchase of 1803, which saw the U.S. acquire over 800,000 square miles of territory from France, to the acquisition of Alaska in 1867, a land rich in resources and strategic value, the nation's boundaries have been redrawn time and again. These acquisitions, driven by a mix of economic opportunity, strategic considerations, and the ideology of manifest destiny, have shaped the geopolitical landscape of North America. Manifest destiny, the belief that the expansion of the U.S. was both justified and inevitable, fueled the nation's westward push. The Louisiana Purchase, a stroke of diplomatic brilliance orchestrated by President Thomas Jefferson, doubled the size of the young nation and secured control of the Mississippi River, a vital artery for trade and transportation. The purchase of Alaska, initially met with skepticism and dubbed Seward's Folly after Secretary of State William H. Seward, proved to be a strategic masterstroke. It granted the U.S. a foothold in the Arctic and access to vast natural resources, including gold and oil. These historical precedents, while offering glimpses into the U.S. past approach to territorial expansion, also highlight the complex and often contentious nature of such endeavors. Each acquisition came with its own set of challenges, negotiations, and opposition. The Louisiana Purchase, while peaceful, involved intricate negotiations with Napoleonic France, a nation embroiled in European conflicts and in need of funds. The deal was struck for $15 million, a bargain for the vast expanse of land acquired. The Alaska Purchase, though a bargain in hindsight at just over $7 million, faced domestic opposition and skepticism about its value. Critics questioned the wisdom of acquiring what they saw as a frozen wasteland. These historical echoes resonate as the world contemplates the possibility of the U.S. acquiring Greenland. The idea, floated in recent years, has sparked debate and curiosity about the feasibility and implications of such a move. The sheer scale and audacity of such an undertaking would dwarf these past acquisitions, presenting a unique set of challenges and opportunities. Greenland, with its vast ice sheets and untapped resources, represents both a strategic asset and a logistical challenge. The geopolitical landscape of the 21st century, marked by globalization, climate change, and shifting power dynamics, further complicates the equation. The Arctic region in particular has become a focal point of international interest due to its potential for new shipping routes and resource extraction. Could the U.S. successfully navigate these complexities and add another chapter to its history of expansion? The decision would require careful consideration of international law, environmental impact, and diplomatic relations. Or does the potential purchase of Greenland represent a step too far, a relic of a bygone era? As the world watches, the echoes of the past remind us that the path of expansion is fraught with both promise and peril. The Arctic jewel Greenland's strategic significance. Greenland, the world's largest island, occupies a strategically crucial position in the Arctic region. Situated between North America and Europe, it commands vital shipping lanes that are becoming increasingly navigable due to climate change. This geographic advantage, coupled with Greenland's proximity to the Arctic Circle, bestows upon it immense strategic importance. The island's vast coastline, dotted with deep water ports, offers a strategic advantage for military operations, particularly in the context of growing great power competition in the Arctic. Moreover, Greenland's location makes it an ideal platform for scientific research, particularly in the fields of climate change, glaciology, and Arctic ecosystems. Beneath Greenland's icy surface lies a treasure trove of natural resources, including rare earth minerals, oil, and natural gas. These resources, coupled with the island's potential for renewable energy production, particularly hydroelectric power, make it an attractive target for nations seeking to secure their energy and resource future. As the Arctic ice continues to melt at an alarming rate, opening up new shipping routes and access to resources, Greenland's strategic significance is only set to grow. This has led to increased international interest in the region, with nations vying for influence and access to its untapped potential and resources. A tangled web navigating political and legal waters. The prospect of the U.S. purchasing Greenland is not a simple real estate transaction. It is a complex geopolitical puzzle entangled in a web of international law, historical agreements, and delicate diplomatic relations. The idea, while intriguing to some, opens a Pandora's box of legal and political challenges that require careful navigation and a deep understanding of the intricate relationships between the involved parties. Greenland, though geographically closer to North America, is an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark. This geographical proximity has often led to misconceptions about its political status, but the reality is far more nuanced. This unique political status means that any discussion of a potential sale would necessitate the involvement of not just Greenland but also Denmark, the sovereign power. The Danish government holds significant sway over Greenland's international affairs, despite Greenland's internal autonomy. Denmark has repeatedly stated that Greenland is not for sale, viewing such proposals as an affront to its sovereignty and a disregard for the wishes of the Greenlandic people. The Danish stance is rooted in a deep historical connection and a commitment to the welfare of the Greenlandic population. Greenland itself, while pursuing greater autonomy from Denmark, has expressed mixed feelings about the idea of a sale, with some welcoming the potential economic benefits, while others fear losing their cultural identity. The Greenlandic people are proud of their heritage and wary of any changes that might undermine their cultural and social fabric. Furthermore, international law does not explicitly prohibit the sale of territory, provided it is conducted with the consent of all parties involved and respects existing treaties. This legal framework, however, is complex and requires careful interpretation to ensure that all actions are legitimate and justifiable. However, the principle of territorial integrity, enshrined in the United Nations Charter, underscores the importance of respecting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states. This principle is a cornerstone of international relations, and any deviation from it could set a dangerous precedent. Navigating these legal and political complexities would require a delicate touch, respecting the self-determination of the Greenlandic people while addressing the concerns of Denmark and the international community. It would involve extensive negotiations, transparent dialogue, and a commitment to upholding international norms and values. Any attempt to circumvent these processes or impose a solution could have far-reaching consequences, potentially destabilizing the Arctic region and straining relations between key allies. The Arctic is a region of strategic importance, and any instability here could have global repercussions, affecting not just the immediate stakeholders, but the broader international community as well. The history of territorial negotiations is filled with examples of both successful and failed attempts, each offering lessons on the importance of diplomacy, respect for sovereignty, and the need for mutual agreement. The case of Greenland is no different, requiring a careful balance of interests and a forward-looking approach to ensure a peaceful and beneficial outcome for all parties involved. Economic realities, costs, benefits, and the price of ice. The notion of purchasing Greenland, while captivating in its audacity, raises fundamental questions about the economic realities of such a monumental transaction. The idea, though intriguing, is not without its complexities and challenges. The financial costs associated with acquiring Greenland, a landmass 3 times the size of Texas, would be astronomical. This is not just a simple real estate deal, it involves a multitude of financial layers and considerations. These costs would encompass not only the purchase price itself, which could potentially reach into the trillions of dollars, but also the long-term investments required to develop infrastructure, stimulate the economy, and improve the standard of living for Greenland's inhabitants. The sheer scale of investment needed for infrastructure development, such as roads, ports, and housing, is immense. Proponents of the purchase might point to Greenland's vast natural resources, including rare earth minerals, oil, and natural gas, as potential economic drivers. These resources could indeed provide significant economic benefits if managed and extracted efficiently. However, the extraction of these resources presents significant logistical challenges and environmental concerns, particularly in a region already grappling with the impacts of climate change. The harsh Arctic conditions make resource extraction not only difficult but also expensive and risky. Moreover, Greenland's economy is heavily reliant on fishing and subsidies from Denmark. The fishing industry is a cornerstone of Greenland's economy, providing livelihoods for many of its residents. Transitioning to a more diversified and self-sustaining economy would require substantial investment and long-term planning. This transition would involve developing new industries and creating job opportunities in sectors beyond fishing. Ultimately, the economic viability of a potential U.S. purchase of Greenland hinges on a complex calculus of costs, benefits, and long-term strategic considerations. The decision would need to balance immediate financial outlays with potential long-term gains. While the island's resource potential is undeniable, the financial and logistical challenges associated with unlocking this potential should not be underestimated. The strategic importance of Greenland, both economically and geopolitically, adds another layer of complexity to this already intricate equation. In conclusion, the idea of purchasing Greenland is a multifaceted issue that requires careful consideration of numerous factors. It is not merely a question of financial capability, but also of strategic vision and long-term commitment.